Good evening, everyone. I am Kishan VS from AAAD and I'll be moderating today's session. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. So, on behalf of AAAD, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all the respected dignitaries and one and all present here. So, let's start the session with a small video of our new campus. Thank you all for watching. Before we start, we have few important instructions. To uninterrupted session, I would request all the delegates and participants to kindly switch off their videos and mute their mic. All the participants are requested to post their questions related to the topic in the chat box given below, which will be answered in the end of the session. Thank you. Let's begin with the introduction of our today's host, that is architect Kavya Chandrashekhar ma'am. Architect Kavya Chandrashekhar ma'am is the co-founder of Craetive Head of the Design Venue, an academy with a difference, which guides students for various designs, fashion, and architectural entrance exam and portfolio preparation. The design venue, her brainchild, started a decade ago with the co-founder, Mr. Chandrasekhar sir. Today stands tall with 6 centers in prime locations of Bangalore and a center each in Indore and Trivandrum, an achievement made possibly because of her leadership. She has to her credit for guiding students to secure top ranks in design, fashion, and architectural entrance exam for the year of its inception. In addition, she is also working as an associate professor teaching interior design and architectural design at BGS School of Architecture and Planning. Apart from teaching, she has over a decade of experience in architecture and interior design too. She has been a team player and also had headed a few design projects. She was a part of design team which was won the prestigious Visual Merchandising and Retail Design Award. She has also had the honor of being chosen as panelist by the All India Design Fraternity and KPMG to rank the design colleges across India, including IITs, NID, NIFTs. She has also judged students across India for the final round of All India Design Olympiad examination. She has an incomprehensible passion and immense patience for teaching and mentoring, and at the same time continues to pursue the adventure of built environment, searching and researching beyond the boundaries of time and space. Thank you, Mom, for being a part of this event to witness our journey and encourage us. So now I would like request to host architect Kavya Chandrashekhar ma'am to take over the session.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kishan, for the warm welcome. I think Arjun and I will do justice for all of you who gathered here. So basically, what we will be doing is we will tell you on the opportunities that you have with regards to studying in the UK in particular. So we have 4 universities lined up, and we've got a great resource person, that's Arjun, who will be letting us know about each of these institutions. So what we will be doing is Arjun will go through each of the universities, tell you about the university as and when required, show you a couple of videos so that you understand the university a little more in depth. So we've got, say, around an hour's time. I'm not sure we'll be able to do justice in an hour with the 4 universities, but beyond this, if any of you've got any doubts with regard to each of these university or would want to know anything more in detail, you can always get in touch with us. We will also help and guide you in helping you make your portfolios. So depending on which university you would want to apply or which branch of design you would want to take up, you need to alter your portfolios based on that. You need to have your statement of purpose, you need to have recommendation letters. So there are a lot of things related to it. So we will help and guide you with regard to all of this, not just with universities in UK, but if you're looking at any university across the globe, we will help and guide you. But today we've restricted ourselves to the 4 university. That's Arts University, Bournemouth. Then we've got Falmouth University, Ravensbourne, and Leeds Arts. So these 4 universities. So you've got any questions with regard to it? I think the last 10 to 15 minutes will devote to questions. Will that be fine, Arjun? Yeah. So what you can do is you can put it in your chat box, and we'll look into it at the end of the session. I will probably leave my contact number, email address, and a website on the chat box. You guys can reach out to us at any point in time. So now over to you, Arjun.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining in on the session. I really look forward to working with you and just letting you know about what the opportunities are in the UK. Now, the way I like to go about it is, obviously I need to inform you about the opportunities that you have in the UK, but also the way I look at things. So I studied in Dehradun and then I went to the UK for my undergraduate degree, and university is a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to help you achieve what you want, to help you grow, to help you, get a job and do what you want. So while I will talk to you about what the universities have on offer and what they can provide, the program that they have, the structure of the programs, the fees, etc. What I'll also do is, in the later half of the presentation, go through what opportunities you have. Because studying is one thing, but then what do you do with those academics? Um, and that's where an international university, UK universities particularly, they help you grow and they really provide you with the support that you need. Just one question before we get started, and this was just something curious that I just needed to ask Kishan sir. The video that was just presented, the new campus that you have, I mean, obviously,
Yes.
the buildings were made, there was the whole garden, swimming pools, etc. So did you hire external architects, or was this done by students of the school?
So that would be answered by Siddharth sir, I feel. Sir,
No,
if you don't mind, you
it
can.
was designed by a principal. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so I mean, that's the kind of integration that a lot of international universities also look at. When they do a project, they get the students involved, and there's a lot of cross collaboration that is involved as well. But anyways, I'm going to stop talking. Let's get on to the presentation. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to pop them in the chat. And if not, then you please turn on your microphone, camera as well. Due to COVID, I haven't really seen that many people this year, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to see a face every now and again. But please do feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions that I may be able to answer. So today we're here to talk about architecture in the UK. That is a picture of London in the background, one of the greatest cities in the world. I find that very debatable, to be honest. It's an okay city. I really like it. My brother lives there, so it's a nice place to be. But essentially, we're just here to kind of go through the opportunities, what you should look out for when you look for a master's education in the UK, the universities, the 4 universities that I've got with me today, what your post-study work options, and then my personal favorite part of the presentation, which is what can you do? I mean, the opportunities are endless. It's just about kind of figuring out where you'd like to go and what you'd like to do. So essentially, when we're talking about things to look out for, you have to, first of all, I think one of the main priorities is to look for a REBA certification. REBA is kind of the registry for UK architects. It's the Royal Institute of Accredited Architecture in the UK. And a REBA certification, you'll get level 2 if you complete your master's program. While doing your master's program, you can quickly do level 1 as well. It's not really that complicated. And after you graduate, if you work for a couple of years, then with that work experience, you can apply to do level 3. Once you've completed level 3, you're a fully fledged architect in the UK. You can, open your own firm. You can work with whichever company you deem fit or whichever company you desire. So the REBA certification is definitely something to look at if you're looking at doing a master's in architecture in the UK. In-school opportunities, professional expertise and guidance, exposure and learning combined. These are all 3. I kind of separated them, but they kind of all mean the same thing. Look for opportunities while you're at college. There's a lot of kind of cross-design work that needs to be done. Architecture is not only applicable when it comes to making buildings, it's got a wide range of applications, such as my brother, he's an actor in London, and they often hire architects to do the stage, of where he acts, because he's a theater actor. So the theater stage is developed by architects because they just need to have that spatial awareness, that understanding, the acoustics, how sound will travel if they put something here, something here, something here. So while obviously being an architect is one thing, there are a lot of multifaceted aspects of architecture that can be looked at and that can be brought upon, which is what universities love to integrate with each other, especially these universities, because not only do they provide architecture, but they're arts universities in general. So they've got fashion, they've got animation, they've got, computer design, they've got, I mean, a whole wide range of subjects, if I'm completely honest with you. They've got kind of, video game design, photography, film and theater, music. So, all of those things kind of come together when we look at an arts university experience. And you also have to see how it's different. Essentially, this last point would probably be the most important, on par with global recognition. The world, it's a globalized economy now. I find it very ridiculous to think that you can survive with just what is around you. Community engagement has reduced significantly over the years. And obviously, while community is important, it's also important to be engaged on the larger level of things. A UK education, a master's in the UK, will allow you to be an architect anywhere in the world. I have friends who are architects in Hong Kong, Singapore, Sydney after graduating from the UK. So it just allows you the opportunity to kind of think bigger, think larger, and go for whichever opportunity you think is best for you. So these are the 4 universities that we have today. As Kavya ma'am introduced, we've got Arts University Bournemouth, Falmouth University, Ravensbourne, and Leeds Arts University. One of these universities, I'll keep it a secret which one, does not actually do a master's in architecture, but does a master's in world building. It's a completely different concept, and I think it's a really, really cool concept, which I thought is why I'll add it to the presentation. We'll get to what the MA in world building is all about. But first, let's have a look at Arts University Bournemouth. So this is the overview of the Arts University Bournemouth program. Sorry if I say AUB, Arts University Bournemouth, so I'm very used to calling it AUB. So if you do get confused, please do note that Arts University Bournemouth is AUB. So the Master of Architecture program is if you're looking for something different, fresh, and you're kind of just looking at seeing where your skills can be applied. It's a general architecture program. If you personally are looking for interior design, then there is a separate program for interior design. But otherwise, the Masters in Architecture program is known to be just multifaceted so that you'll be able to enter any realm of architecture after graduation. During university, you will work on projects. You will work on real life projects, which is why I kind of asked, about the new campus, because at university, Arts University Bournemouth, if they had to develop a building, they'd just tell the students, why don't you guys develop it? Obviously final approval will have to go through the head of the architecture department, will have to go through the head of the university, but essentially all the work, all the organization, the 3D modeling, the development, the acoustic sound kind of check, everything will be done by students of the university. Later on in the presentation, there is an example of a building that has been made by university students. And you'll also have a look at the latest social, cultural, and environmental issues. Obviously, the environment, the United Nations has released their sustainable goals. Social and cultural aspects do take place now across the world. So it's just important to know what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And Arts University Bournemouth has state-of-the-art studios where you can just kind of go mad. You can literally just do whatever you want. 3D modeling, 2D modeling, you can do print work, you can do kind of exploration. It just allows you to make mistakes before you enter the real world. So it's a very supportive and nurturing environment. So these are the program details. The program link is there at the bottom. Please, please, please do visit the link if you want to have a more in-depth understanding of the program. To be very honest with you, I'm not an architect myself. I really wish I was. Now I know how cool architecture can be. And the more I understand about architecture, the cooler I think it is. I decided to go for accounting and finance at university. Not my brightest decision, not the best decision I've made in the world, but I'm happy with what I do now and where it's turned out. So that's fine. So technically, these are the entire 2 years programs. So as you can see, it's very limited because you really dive deep into the programs. You really understand what the programs are about, and you get an in-depth understanding of where the subject is now, where it's going in the future, and how you can fit in to these various different realms of architecture. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly move on to Falmouth University. As I understand, we are...
Sorry to interrupt you, but just wanted to let all of you know that AUB, that's Arts University Bournemouth, the architecture departments designed by Zaha Hadid. She went ahead and she's the one who's designed the architecture department, the studios in particular. And her studio is also part of designing most of the departments in the university. And the good thing about AUB is that the entire university is with regard to art. So it's everything with you have a lot of creative juices flowing from different departments. You've got an animation department, as Arjun rightly said. You've got somebody who's working in the product design department. So you've got all departments at the university, which is tilted towards design and creativity. Yes, Arjun, you can
Yeah,
go ahead.
thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that, the Hadid fact. I should have remembered that one. But yeah, so quickly just going to kind of move on because I feel that, the university research that you guys will do before applying will be in depth. If you do decide to go for a university, an education and a master's degree in the UK, then I'm just giving you an oversight of what these universities have to offer. I mean, obviously, if you want to look at it in more detail, then Kavya is available. If you want to have a conversation with me, then, Kavya ma'am can put you in touch with me as well. But essentially, we're going to have a look at Falmouth University now. Falmouth University it's a really great university. It shares a campus with one of the top ranked universities in the UK, which is the University of Exeter. It's a bit out of the way. It's towards the southwest of England. It's a beachside university, but they collaborate with the University of Exeter, and the University of Exeter on the same campus works on renewable sources of energy, oil and natural gas programs, etc. So as an architecture student, you can integrate oil and natural gas, architecture, renewable sources of energy into your program and into your understanding of the subject area, which I think is very, very, very valid and very applicable in today's economy. Now, Falmouth University also is REBA accredited. They've got dedicated architecture studios, facilities, workshops. Respected guest lecturers come from London, Manchester, Exeter, Bristol, from all over the place to give guest lectures, and they're experts in the field. So if you ever get the opportunity to go for a guest lecture in the UK, please do. It's definitely worth your time. You get to collaborate with other students. As mentioned earlier, universities like to cross-collaborate across different departments, and you will be REBA certified by the end of the program. Now, the program details change a little bit. Again, the link is here at the bottom, but essentially what the program hopes to achieve is it hopes to achieve that, you'll be able to make complex designs, you'll be able to understand the market, you'll be able to understand the difference in the built and the natural environment, something that I will touch upon later in the presentation, and you'll be able to critically reflect on every step of the process. Developing something as you do as an architect, it's not easy. And there are a lot of things, there are so many moving factors at the same time that sometimes it could be overlooked. For example, I was just getting some work done at home the other day. I've unfortunately had to move back home because of COVID, but it's good. I've got to spend some time with my mum and my grandmom, and it's really nice. But I was getting something installed at home, and I was drilling through the wall, and I didn't realize that the wires were running through exactly where I was about to drill. So I was about to drill through cement and absolutely disrupt all of the wires in my house. It would have got short circuited. It would have been a headache, not to mention the fact that my mom would have killed me. So critical thinking and critical thinking development is something that Falmouth University really likes to focus on, because you want to foresee these kind of issues. Obviously, I didn't foresee it. Luckily, I realized just in time because someone else shouted at me, "What are you doing?" But yeah, Falmouth University really gives you, it's very heavy on thinking and thinking practices, because training your mind is just as important, maybe even more important than training your body. So yeah, definitely a good university to look at. Quickly moving on, Ravensbourne University. I have a soft spot for Ravensbourne University because it's based in London. So I kind of get to kill two birds with one stone. When I go back to London, I get to visit my brother, and I get to go and see Ravensbourne University, which I think is really cool. Ravensbourne University, based in London, gives you experiential learning that a lot of other places in the world wouldn't be able to give you, right? Because you're based in London. It's got some of the best architects. It's got some of the best architecture. The urban planning and development is also, I mean, it's a developed nation. It's the capital of England. So it's one of the top 5, most developed cities in the world, I think. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. So being able to study in that kind of an environment, the curriculum itself allows you to explore smart urbanism, sustainable environmental methodologies, and emerging technologies. And I think that this one, smart urbanism, is definitely one for the books. I mean, it's just something that needs to be inculcated in things like this, especially if we look back at India, then the emergence of smart cities. Smart urbanism is directly correlated to smart city development and kind of how do you look at it from an urban planning perspective, which Ravensbourne University can assist you with. It also assists in entrepreneurial training, and it encourages imagination and exploration with research fully backed by state-of-the-art equipment and architecture. This would be the kind of structure of the program. You've got multiple credits that you would have to do. And as you can see, you can making places, which would be cities, natural museums, kind of natural parks, etc. Design technology. Your dissertation is probably one of the coolest pieces of work that you're ever going to do in your life, because it's just you. You get to choose the topic. You get to choose the problem within architecture that you would like to find a solution for. You can do research about it, and then a 15,000-page document identifying the problem, identifying the solution, and giving a practical application of how you can implement that solution as well. Definitely a good university to look at. Leeds Arts University is the one I was talking about when I was talking about the Masters in World Building. And I know I'm talking for a very, very long time. Don't worry, I'm going to stop in a bit. We're going to get to the portfolio section of the presentation, and then Kavya ma'am will definitely be able to assist you better than I will when it comes to developing a portfolio. Masters in World Building. It's not exactly a Masters in Architecture. It's not REBA certified at all. But essentially, it will allow you to visualize the past, present, and future of design and world building, essentially. The world building is a program which allows you to understand, conceptualize, and make mistakes before you've even made them. Like, if I think about it, then one of the most architecturally sound places in the world would be Barcelona in Spain. Their urban planning and their urban development is almost unparalleled. Even if you guys want to Google right now, Barcelona aerial view, and you'll just see from an aerial view how structured that city is because of people who do world building. Being able to visualize, conceptualize, and have the resources available, the 3D printers, the virtual reality, to understand from every angle how things should work, how things should look. It allows you to create a city or create a space. It could be an office space, it could be a home, it could be a city, it could be infrastructural development, such as irrigation, clean water, hot water, sewage waste management. And it allows you to conceptualize and understand those aspects, visualize those aspects, and create a working model before you actually go into the world and start digging everything up and making a mess of things. Like I'm currently in Dehradun, and Dehradun has decided that it's going to change its piping because of the irrigation system being changed. And yeah, they decided to do it like 2 weeks before the monsoon hit. Now, I thought that was the stupidest thing in the world, because what you've essentially gone and done is you've gone and dug up the entire city, you've redone the piping, and by the time you've done even 20% of the city, which is a bit of an exaggeration, probably ended up doing 5 to 6%, the rains have started. So how do you lay piping, dig up streets, do all of that while it's raining? It was the stupidest thing in the world, I think. And if you'd studied world building, then that wouldn't be a problem, because you'd be able to conceptualize, okay, this is how this is going to work. This is how we should lay the piping. If they started now and worked throughout the winter, it would have been done in 4 months instead of now, the 2 years, because all the labor's gone and found other jobs while those couldn't be completed. So now there's a labor issue. It's just a mess, if I'm completely honest with you guys. So yeah, world building is a great program. I found it very, very unique, and I found it very, very valid in today's world. So please do check it out if you ever get the opportunity. So here, I'm not going to stay on this slide for too long. These are just kind of basic statistics about how to get into the university, what the tuition fees are, what the scholarships are, living expenses, etc. Living expenses approximately stay the same, except for Ravensbourne University because it's based in London. The tuition fees also are in the same range for all of the universities, and scholarships change per university. Moving on to the next slide, we're going to see portfolio requirements. So Kavya ma'am, would you like to take this one?
Yeah. So again, when you're applying for your portfolios to any of these universities, what is it that they are looking at? See, they don't have an entrance exam, unlike the entrance exams we do have here. So they understand you as a person through your portfolio. Your portfolio is your representative. So how you make your portfolio, I'm sure all of you have already made a couple of portfolios with regard to different subjects, different semesters, your years, or the final year students would also have made one portfolio for your internship, right? So here when you're applying to universities, both in India as well as universities abroad, it's basically a representation of yourself. It should be as lively as possible, your portfolio. See, professors who's going through your portfolios have looked at n number of portfolios. So what is it that you have in store so that it will catch the attention? So your portfolios will have to be as dynamic as possible. And more than looking at your final pieces, they would want to see your thought process. What were your thoughts? Or what was your design thinking? How you went about doing that final piece of work? What were the different inspirations you drew from? So this is what they are looking for in your portfolio. Your design process is very, very important. Your sketches, your doodles, all of these things should be included. Sketchbooks, in case I would always say a journal that you have wherein you make notes of everything that you've come across with regard to your projects and the different options that you've come in before you've gone ahead and made your final presentation or your final piece is extremely important, and how you've got feedbacks and how you've worked around those feedbacks and how you've improvised on your design. So this is what they would want to see. I wouldn't say put in all the pieces that you've done from day one in school in your that's your design school. You'll have to pick and choose to show how versatile you are. In case you're applying for landscape, say for example, landscape is what you're applying for. Out of the 5 projects that you would be putting in your portfolio, I would suggest 2 to 3 works with regards to portfolio that you put, so that they understand why you're applying for landscaping, or you're applying for urban designing. So around 50 to 60% of your work should be with regard to the subject that you are applying to. So this is what they're doing. And the first page, I would say it's always good you make a graphical representation of yourself. Now, generally, if someone asks you who you are or what you are, you generally say what you like, what your likes and dislikes are, how you work as a person. So since you're all architects and drawing is one of the ways on how you would communicate, that would be very interesting to look for in your portfolio as well. I could talk over and I could show you a lot of examples on portfolio preparation, but what I would suggest is in case you come up with your portfolio, we could discuss about it. And when you've almost done with 60 to 70% of your portfolio, I could also show a couple of portfolios which students have applied and have got scholarship for. Because you also, depending on how well you present your portfolio, you also get scholarships. So I can show you portfolios of students who've got up to 40-50% scholarship. I could show you that, but I wouldn't show it to you initially. Reason being, if I show you something, then your ideas or your portfolio will revolve around something that you've seen. I want all of you to have your own original ideas. And once you've completed around 60-70%, then I could show you so that you could work on it and make it better. And also, they would want to know how good you're with your hands on. A lot of hands on activities is what they would want to look at. So, what do you mean by hands on activities? Your models. Yes, you've got a lot of walkthroughs and fly throughs that you could present, but they also would want to see how good you're with your model making skills. So, if you could put your few things in your model, few of your models that you've done would also be a great idea. And apart from only digitalizing your portfolio, if along with digitalizing you've got a few sketches, a few perspectives of how it would look and feel, if you've done something about a material study, or if you've come up with some different methodology with regards to climatology, if you've included all of this in your portfolio, then I think that would be one of the most impressive portfolios that they would look at. So if again, I'm telling you, if any of you need help, we are here. We could guide you step by step. Also in shortlisting which university, which branch you would want to apply, which country, how your portfolio should be, how would you present it, and there should be a story. Your portfolio should have a story from the beginning to end. It shouldn't look like cut and paste different projects into one PDF. No, there should be a story. You should be able to weave a story out of your portfolio. It should be as lively as possible. Yes, in a nutshell, this is what they are looking for in your portfolio. Yes. Arjun?
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, if you guys ever require any portfolio guidance, please do go to Kavya ma'am. You can definitely send her an email, and she's just awesome, to be honest. So yeah, okay. We've kind of gone through the universities, and we've kind of, had a look at how to develop a portfolio, what we're looking for, tuition fee, scholarships, etc., etc., etc. Essentially, this is probably the funnest part of the presentation for me, because I get to be a nerd and I get to kind of geek out and, kind of discuss these topics in a little bit of depth. What do you do with an architecture degree afterwards? I mean, it's not as black and white as it used to be. And each university that I presented today can assist you in getting into any of the, realms of architecture that we are about to talk about, or any ones that I might have missed. But essentially, you've got 2 years after you graduate to kind of get into the realm of architecture in the UK. The UK's new 2-year post-study work visa just allows you to stay in the UK for 2 years, even if you don't have a job, even if you're not sponsored, etc. Just you've done a master's program over there, so you can definitely, stay for 2 years to find a job. The universities, because they are niche universities and they're arts universities, not like a normal university, they have great ties to industry. So the guest lecturers that will come, the companies that will come, they will all be ones that have great relationships with the university. So it allows you to get individualized kind of one-on-one time with some of the biggest architecture firms in the UK. There's a wide range of options available post-graduation, and obviously you can practice anywhere in the world once you graduate from a UK university. But now we're going to have a look at what you can do. Now, to be honest, this picture looks like it's, something out of Star Wars, but it's not. This is we're currently sat in the Library of Istanbul, and that is the dome in Istanbul. I thought it was a very pretty building. I thought it was nice, so I just thought, why not add it to the presentation? So yeah, firstly, let's start simple. Home architecture is very, very important. There is this house. So I recently was living in Delhi. Because of COVID, I have moved back to Dehradun. Thank God. I'm going to pretend I didn't say that. But yeah, essentially, there was a house that was a couple of doors down from mine. And it was a smart home, and it was an environmentally friendly home. And basically, that home had no ACs installed. Now, I thought that was quite odd because, Delhi can get quite hot. So how do you develop a home without any ACs? It just runs off fans. But the way it was an architect, and the way he had developed his home was that via the use of natural wind and, plants and different other methodologies that he used, his house could stay naturally cool in the summer and naturally warm in the winter, which I thought was amazing. I have no idea how he did it. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not an architect, so I just have no idea about the details. But I thought that was a really cool concept because his electricity bill and his dependency on AC is just diminished. Which, you know, when you're paying a 15, 20, 25,000 rupee bill a month, it's not fun. So yeah, I mean, home architecture is definitely cool. I know a lot of friends that have done architecture and they're currently renting flats because they tell me that, you know, I want enough money to be able to design my own house and to be able to make my own house, and that's going to be their project. That's their personal ambition, personal project. The kind of developments and the kind of thoughts that they've told me about, I think that's quite cool, and definitely, you know, inspirational. Corporate architect. You know, if you've got home, then you've got corporate as well. So the top right is an office building. It's actually quite a cool office building based in the USA where these windows can be designed via the use of the computer. They can be designed in different ways. So on Independence Day, you know, they'll have, you know, a flag up, you know, on, you know, if they feel like playing tic-tac-toe, then they can just put noughts and crosses and then they can just play sitting outside. And, you know, if they ever need a break, it's a nice teamwork exercise. You know, like when you're tired of being in the office, you can step out and you can, you know, have some fun with your colleagues. So it was quite an inspirational concept for me, and I definitely thought that that was cool. We've got the Apple Store in New York. So this Apple Store is just, it's a 24/7 advertisement for Apple. This is technically the Apple Store. The top floor is just this. Then you go down into the basement, and that's where you can see all the gadgets, the laptops, the iPods, the iPhones, etc. But essentially, the office, the store is just one big glass building with a massive Apple logo in the middle. Smart, if you think about it. And this bottom left is Art University Bournemouth's design studio, and art studio. This was designed by students. So the way, as you can see, it's curved. You know, you've got the acoustics that can be done, so you can do sound production in there. Right now, you know, we've got a painting class going on, so, you know, a sketching class going on, so you can do that over there with the natural light that's in. Sometimes it's good for movie shots, you know, theater shots, or, you know, like quick YouTube videos that students make. It's used for multiple areas and was designed with the help of students. So it's just, you know, great. Environmental architecture. Now, this one I decided to add because it was very, very important. The environment is obviously not something to joke about. You've got vertical farming that has now increased. And as you can see, multiple avenues can be seen via environmental architecture. Something to be looked at still. It's still in the development phase. Environmental architecture is not like a fully blown, you know, multi-billion-dollar industry yet. It's definitely increasing year on year. Maybe you can get involved. Maybe you can, you know, like, you know, maybe ride the wave of when it does boom, because it will. And it's just something that, you know, the UK is getting into a lot, and a lot of universities do have opportunities in this realm. Infrastructural development, one of the most kind of key ones, especially in the context of India. Infrastructural development is something that I'm pretty sure we all complain about on a daily basis. Coming from the UK, one of the weirdest things I found was the lack of 24/7 running hot water and the lack of clean drinking water from a tap. You know, I mean, like after spending 8 years in the UK, 9 years in the UK, you know, I took those things for granted. Then when I moved back to India, you know, I had to get a filter, you know, I had to get a geyser and, you know, turn on the switch every time I wanted hot water, you know, make sure my, you know, filters are fixed, you know, and they're cleaned out every, you know, 2-3 months. It was just not a headache I was used to. I wasn't used to that kind of a headache. So infrastructural development is definitely something that you can get involved with. And if you study architecture in a developed nation, then it's easier to contextualize what is needed in a developing nation, such as India. Now, imagine if somehow, you know, via the concepts that you can understand or via your understanding of, you know, infrastructure in the UK, you manage to fix the clean drinking water problem in India. You know, it's a possibility. So yeah, infrastructural development. But talking about infrastructural development, urban planning. So on the right over here, we have a picture of New Delhi. very well planned. And on the left over here, we have that picture of Barcelona that I was telling you about. I mean, I don't think I really need to expand anymore on in regards to this picture. As you can see, urban planning is definitely something that is needed. Urban planning is definitely something that is. I mean, from my perspective, it should be kind of top on the priority list across India. Like, let's be honest. It's just easier for irrigation systems, easier for sewage systems, easier for waste management, less traffic. I mean, you guys are in Bangalore, you know what I'm talking about, like it's easier for traffic, like, it's just easier. If you plan it, it's easier. Like if you decide tomorrow to wake up and say, okay, I'm going to apply to a UK university, and you apply, the chances of you getting in are going to be a lot less than if you decide tomorrow that, okay, in 4 months I'm going to apply, and then for those 4 months you plan, with Kavya ma'am, etc. Because, and that's it. That it's the exact same concept. The more you plan, the better the results are going to be. And instead of just kind of growing in every direction, India needs to consolidate and get into urban planning a little bit. So this is just food for thought. Two pictures as the right, same picture of Delhi. It's just a great picture. I love it so much. And on the left, you've got my hometown, Dehradun. So Dehradun has been marked as, a potential smart city. I mean, I'm holding out on my verdict at the moment. I don't see it happening. I don't see any progress being made. I've come back after maybe 3 years now because of COVID, and it's the same. Like, it's just exactly the same. So yeah. Sustainable architecture. So sustainable architecture is up and coming. A very, very close mix to environmental architecture. It's definitely something that you can get involved with. Sustainable architecture at Falmouth University, as I mentioned, is definitely something that you can look at because of its close proximity to the University of Exeter's renewable resources of energy situation. So if you can mix renewable sources of energy with, sustainable architecture, then you've definitely got a winning combination over there. I think I need to discuss this with my father once, because I think we're planning on getting solar panels on the roof. I don't know when or if that's ever going to happen. But again, sustainable architecture, definitely something for the future. The world is turning more green. We need a lower carbon footprint. The UK has said by 2030, the roads will be pollution free, as in petrol and diesel cars will be kind of phased out. By 2050, which is 30 years from now, like in our lifetimes, the UK will be carbon neutral. The UK, I mean, okay, it's a small island, right? It's not exactly a monumentally big deal if a small little midget island manages to, become carbon free, but it is. I think that's awesome, where you have 65 million people living in a carbon free, carbon neutral environment. Like, even if one state in India can achieve that, that will be a huge win for everyone on the planet. So sustainable architecture, definitely a realm of architecture to look out for.
Yeah,
Historical and restorative architecture. Yes, sorry.
And I think Falmouth University is working with Cornwall with regards to
Yes.
sustainability.
Yep. Yeah. So Falmouth University does work with the region. So Falmouth University is situated in Cornwall, and Falmouth University works with the Cornwall local government to implement, wind turbines, and because they're next to the ocean, renewable sources of water energy. I think what they created a wall which kind of swayed in the ocean, and that swaying motion generated electricity for the university or for the city, something like that. Yeah. So overall, just it's great. It's definitely something to look out for at Falmouth. Sorry. Historical and restorative architecture, I think it's cool. You get to kind of relive the past. History, I never took much interest in as a kid, but now I really regret that. and I like to go to museums. I like to understand more about our past. Now, becoming a part of that past and saving it, I mean, especially in a country like India, which just, it's so rich in terms of history, it would just be a great place and something to look out for. Spatial designer. So as an architect, you can also become a spatial designer. Space is very, very important. In India, we have a lack of it. So to be able to create spaces where people can, like in the bottom left over here, that just looks perfect. Get a cup of tea, pick up a book, and you've got your space. Here we've got the office space. So spatial designing is definitely something which is very, very important. It's definitely something that is up and coming. I know that a lot of my friends who have now work from home, same as me, we have had to, manipulate spaces accordingly, and be able to make a dedicated working space for ourselves at home, because, home and work, not an ideal combination to mix, but we're making do. Extreme architecture. Now, this one, to be honest, I don't really have much to say about this one. But essentially, there's research that goes on in extreme places of the planet, such as the Arctics, and creating developments over there, creating buildings over there, creating the infrastructure over there. It requires a different realm of expertise. The same person who made my house in Dehradun can't go to the Arctic and make, the same building, because it's a completely different environment. Similarly, we have man-made islands now. That would also be classified as extreme architecture. We've got, architecture that's coming up in the deserts because of the solar panel and solar energy push that's going on. Extreme architecture is definitely something that you can get into. In the UK, it gets cold. Not that cold as in the pictures, but it does get quite cold. So it's definitely something that you can get involved with. This is something that UK universities very, very, they push a lot. UK universities are very, very heavy on concept architecture. An example of that would be Virgin's Hyperloop. I'm not sure if you guys have had the opportunity to understand or look at what Virgin's Hyperloop has been able to do till now, but basically they're making Bombay to Pune 25 minutes via an underground tunnel. Now, the Hyperloop concept, which came to popularity because of Elon Musk, has been around for a while. Virgin is now being able to implement it in India. It started off as a concept. An architect thought of the concept, say, like overground is getting too crowded. What do we do? And concept architecture is paving the future. It was conceptual architecture that made SpaceX possible. Travel to Mars potentially possible. It's concept architecture is revolutionizing the way that we look at the planet, that we look at work, that we understand what is going on in today's society and environment, and how can we proceed in an ethical fashion. So at university, you really get the opportunity to conceptualize on your own. You have freedom of thought. Nobody's going to restrict your thoughts as to what you think is possible, what you think is impossible. With 3D modeling, 2D modeling, various tests that you can run, and with the expertise of your faculty at university, you can definitely explore a lot of different concepts. So essentially, guys, sky's the limit. I'm going to sign off here. I think I've spoken for a very, very long time, and my apologies if my voice got a bit boring in the middle. But sky's the limit. I want to wish you guys the best of luck. I want to thank you all for listening to me talk for literally 40 minutes straight. Yeah, thank you and best of luck. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It was a wonderful presentation, because a lot of our students were looking for overseas masters. I feel this will be very helpful for them, I feel. So there are a few questions here. So if you can answer for this.
Yeah.
So I'll read out
Absolutely.
the questions, sir.
Yep. No problem.
Yeah. What are the different scholarships available, and how does one become eligible for scholarship?
Okay, so the different scholarships available depend from university to university. Each university has their own criteria of scholarships and their own kind of thought process of what they look for in terms of scholarships. So Arts University Bournemouth can give you anywhere between 10% of the tuition fee to £5,000. £5,000 is approximately 28% of your entire tuition fee, 28 to 30%, which I think is quite a significant sum. Ravensbourne University London can give up to £2,500, but then their tuition fees are lower. Their tuition fees are approximately £15,000. My math is way too weak to be able to do the percentages for this situation. But to be very honest, while scholarships are available, how do you get those scholarships? Now, obviously, we need a certain grade. So for most of the universities, we're looking at around a 60% and above to get accepted into the university, but it would be the portfolio. The portfolio would be the standout factor to get the
for the
scholarship.
scholarships. Any extra exam has to be written, which would be added weightage when applying for masters abroad.
No,
This is one
not in
more
the
question.
UK. No.
Not in the UK.
No, you guys already have way too much work to do at university. You've already got your entire university program plus a portfolio to develop. No other exams are needed except for your English proficiency. So we would require IELTS or TOEFL or PTE.
Okay. That was the wonderful presentation, sir. And I now request Kavya ma'am to give few closing remarks to everyone, ma'am, if you don't mind.
Okay. So closing remarks, huh? Okay. So yeah, I guess you guys are doing really well at Aditya, and you've got wonderful mentors who are helping you reach success. And you guys have huge opportunities. Make use of the opportunities available. I know at these testing times, pandemic, I think you get to learn a lot more. And in a way, it's an advantageous because the globe is your space. You have everyone across the globe whom you could meet and greet and interact with. So I think we need to make the best opportunities with whatever is available with us at the moment. Yeah, wishing you all success for your future campus. When are you moving into your campus, new campus?
It will be shortly, ma'am, because of COVID, we are working on that. Some parties left out, so they're working on it. So it will be done shortly, ma'am.
The new campus looks really promising. So I think a lot of creative juices flowing, and it will be a great environment for you guys to work. So yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, and also I think in the near future we'll have a few professors from these universities who will be presenting different workshops and seminars.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
we will also we do have our Instagram page, the Design Venue. You could
Oh,
follow us on it, wherein we will let you know in case there's any workshop or seminar that's being conducted by different universities, professors. So all of you could be a part of it, and I'll definitely inform Kishan as well as Professor
thank you.
Ganesh. So that
Thank
way
you.
you could benefit. I think, if I'm not wrong, Arjun, they were talking about parametric architecture, I think, was in talks
Yeah,
very
yeah.
recently. So I think very soon you might have a workshop or a seminar on parametric architecture. So if there's anything like that, I will definitely let you know, and you guys could be a part of it.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. And this will bring us to the end of the session, but no event can happen without the support of network of people. So I would like to extend my hearty vote of thanks to all. A very special thanks to our host as well as guest speaker, architect Kavya ma'am and Arjun sir for showing us such a tremendous presentation. I want to thank our off-screen team members of interest in covering the event, coordinating this webinar. So, and this will be, I thank our webinar coordinator, architect Siddharth sir and Jyoti ma'am, and our broadcast coordinator, Harshita ma'am, as well as Snehal ma'am. I also wish to express my gratitude to our beloved principal sir, Ganesh Babu sir, for providing this encouragement and support without whom this would not be possible. And I would also like to thank our management of AAAD for extending their support for our endeavor. Thank you all. Thank you very much and stay tuned for our upcoming session. Thank you all.
Thanks, Kishan.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Happy weekend, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.